Randy, go ahead and get us started. You're muted, Randy.
God, I'll figure that out 3 weeks from now. Steve, can you give us an update on Rushier Bolton, please?
Yeah, he won't practice today. I haven't seen him yet today. I'll see him here in a little bit. We practice at 2:30. But in talking with Vic this morning, he'll be out today. And as of right now, I would say questionable for tomorrow. It's a pretty good sprain. And so definitely out for practice today, and then kind of evaluate at game time tomorrow.
Tyler in there then?
At the point guard or starting, you mean?
At the point.
Yeah.
Well, both. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Tyler would go to the point and then move Javen into the at this, kind of 4 spot.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you.
Hey, Coach. This being the second time this season you've had 3 games in a week, what did you take away from that first experience there when it came to managing minutes and travel, practice, and all that you'll put into practice this week?
Yeah, we'll just go. And I've got the practice schedule right here in front of me. We won't be out there long. We'll do a little tape, kind of recap TCU. Let's get started on Texas. Do a couple things we need to touch on for them. And then we'll get these guys out of here today, because it's going to be a busy week. Wednesday through Saturday, those are 2 road games on Thursday and Saturday, but we leave Wednesday. And so it'll be more about review and being mentally locked in on what we're trying to do than more so just on the floor from that standpoint, and getting up and down, just because 3 games in 5-6 days is a lot. And so we got to be dialed in and game ready.
Will you be coming back to Ames? Sorry, just a quick follow-up. Will you be coming back to Ames between Thursday and Saturday's games?
No, we'll go to Manhattan.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
John Schaefer, go ahead.
Steve, this team's shown a lot of resolve even without getting the results. You've talked about that quite a bit this season, but how do you make sure they again finish this regular season strong with a tough 3-game stretch here over the next 5 days?
Yeah, well, the first game in front of us is a team, I think they're going to be desperate tomorrow, because obviously Texas got off to a phenomenal start. And I think ever since COVID, they're trying to work their way back a little bit, whether it's been through the players, through Shaka. But they got a phenomenal team, and a team that can make a deep run in the postseason. But I'm sure we'll get their best shot in a sense of urgency, from them. And then we go to Lubbock, who, another top 20 team, trying to maybe stay out of the play-in game. As crazy as that sounds, where our 7 seeds, top 20 in the country could be in the play-in game. So, and then we got K-State, who, you can see they've been resilient, the way they compete. But I'm extremely proud. I thought we played really, really hard last 25 minutes, especially. There was a stretch, I think we outscored TCU like 35-16 in a stretch from like the 5-minute mark of the first half to about the 8-minute mark of the second. Obviously, I think Baylor, we played as good as we possibly could there. We just got to learn to, again, limit the droughts, continue to guard the tail of the tape. The TCU game, so many easy baskets off our turnovers, and that was really the difference in the game when you really want to break it down. But these guys, they've been resilient. They've done everything I've asked. They've competed at a high level, and so hopefully tomorrow night we can get them over the hump.
Matt Bellinson, go ahead.
Steve, the first time around with Texas, you mentioned a lot about how the glass really killed you guys. I'm just curious now with a little bit of a smaller lineup. I know Trey did start that game against Texas the first time around, but just with such a smaller lineup, what's going to be the key to make sure that the size advantage on the glass isn't such a big issue this time?
Well, it was. I think our ball screen coverage wasn't as good down there as it needs to be. I think we've gotten better on that in the last couple of weeks. But the rebounding, like you said, with Jones and Brown and Sims, they can just go rebound over you and rebound in there out of their area. Number one, our matchups got to be good. We've got to stay in rotation. Our defensive, philosophy and how we want to guard ball screens has got to do a great job of keeping us out of rotation, so we're not switching or getting mismatched to where they can just really overpower us at times, or even if you have a box out, just go right over your back because of their length and their athleticism. But ball screen defense is another major key. But at the end of the day, we got to rebound the ball. I think that was is a major key down there. And so staying out of rotation, being underneath your man, and so we know who we're boxing every time will be very, very important.
Travis, go ahead.
Hey, Steve, just to piggyback on that, your guys' rebounding hasn't, I mean, I don't know that it's been better, but it hasn't taken the hit maybe you would think it would have with the smaller lineup. Why is that? And is it, you know, what you're talking about there, is it more matchups than size and athleticism that you guys need to clean up or execute on to get those rebounds?
Yeah, I think, you know, we switched a lot, or we slid under ball screens at Texas. We switched some, and it got us in some bad matchups from that standpoint. But I think if you look at a guy like Trey Jackson, he's flying around. I think Tyler on the ball, you know, provides a presence defensively. But I think our activity's been better. Even down at Baylor, who is a terrific rebounding team, and I believe the other night, you know, we haven't been out rebounded by large margins in the last couple of games, from what I remember. But I think the biggest thing, like I said, is, you know, the switching and things sometimes can hurt us because of the size, especially now with those guys. And so we've got to do a good job of, again, like you touched on, keeping our matchups and really rebounding down the guards that get back. You know, if I'm guarding Matt Coleman or I'm guarding Courtney Ramey and they're getting back, then those two guys matching up with them, they need to be at the elbows ready to rebound down and help those big guys.
I know you guys obviously are going to do your best to take it one game at a time, but your players know your record, know you got 3 games left. What is the sense of urgency for those guys to, you know, not only finally get a win, but just to avoid that offer that I'm sure, you know, there's a lot of pride in your locker room that would prefer to avoid that, I imagine.
Yeah, but I think they're playing with a lot of pride. I think they're playing with a lot of purpose. I'd be really disappointed from that standpoint, and wouldn't say it if they weren't. I think if you look at the way we played, again, there was a bad 5-6 minute stretch in that TCU game, you know, where they went up 35-21. But man, again, we responded. Baylor, we were terrific, you know, for all the night there. Oklahoma for you know, for the last 25 minutes there. We just have to do a good job of, you know, limiting those tough moments, you know, because these teams are very good, and everybody's margin for error is so slim to where, you know, you don't have time to have 3, 4, 5 minute bad stretches. And so, yeah, we need to break through. We need to get a win, more so for those kids. And so they can feel really good if it's, you know, just for that moment, and understand that their perseverance and their resiliency is paid off. Now, hopefully it's tomorrow night. We got 3 good teams. Like I said, we get K-State on a 3rd game, you know, after the week. But they're playing better. You know, you look at them, they beat Oklahoma, they beat TCU, but they're playing a lot more purpose. And they're kind of getting back to his philosophy from a defensive standpoint. They play with great toughness. So, you know, we got to fight through it. And I hope these guys can get rewarded. But they've stayed the course, you know, and that's a credit to their character. And so I'm proud of them for that.
What's the dynamic where I'd imagine the sense of urgency is raised? And I think we've, again, like to your point, they have been playing with pride. I didn't mean to insinuate that they weren't.
I got
yeah. But where the urgency raises up, how do you keep that while not having pressure building up to, you know, we got to make it happen right now, or, you know, we're looking at 0-18?
Yeah, I think you just got to stay, you know, I talked to a lot of people. You just stay in the moment and not get caught up in looking ahead of, man, 16, 17, 18, whether it's a winning streak or losing streak. I've been part of both. You stay in the moment. And, you know, it's the first time I've been on the other end of it. But even whether you're winning, it's about the next game. It's about the next practice, about the next day. When you start getting ahead of yourselves, that's when I think you can get off course. And so it's just about, you know, I want to show a lot of positive clips from TCU today to have them in the right frame of mind going out to practice. Let's be sharp for a little bit. We need to be out there on the floor to get ready for Texas. We played them really well, majority of the same players last year. And let's go push through. Yeah, of course, you don't want to be a team that goes whatever we are right now, 0-15. You want that streak to end. But like I said, more so I want that streak to end for those kids, because they've been battle tested. They've been resilient, through everything they've been thrown at them this year. And hopefully we can help get over the hump. That's my job, or our job, excuse me.
Thank you very much.
John Schaefer, go ahead.
On that end, Steve, how exhausting has this year been? And I mean, have you had an opportunity to maybe reflect a little bit on the journey of this season for this team?
No, I haven't had much time of reflection. It's been more just trying to stay in the moment and figuring out ways to get better. Because we've been dealt with since really, a year ago around this time. We've been our kids went home and we didn't see them again until really almost 1st of August. And so the landscape in this pandemic has changed. But I haven't really had time to do any reflection. It's been more about just trying to figure out ways the right buttons to push to, figure out a way to win the next game or just get ourselves better. I mean, if you watch us play, I think the last couple of games we are playing better. It just hasn't rewarded. We haven't been rewarded yet with a win.
All right. I think that's all we have for you, Coach. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.